It's Saturday, 8th of March, and I'm just looking at the Reform Party in the UK. Just, because they're arguing amongst ourselves. Personally, it doesn't bother me because I just see them as a protest party, although Nayo doesn't agree, but a protest party on immigration, basically. They've all got to vote for, so I'm not bothered if they're arguing amongst each other on that. I mean, the three options would be paper candidates, as they are, or if they were a single issue immigration party, anti-immigration. Well, not anti is the wrong word. Single issue British native party. So if you want to put it like that, or yeah, I would vote for them on the third thing. So then you've got the other two things: a paper candidate or them arguing with themselves or whatever. Well, I'm alright, but I would prefer probably just a paper candidate. Just because it's just the concept of what they're about. It's not really what they're actually about because I think they're sort of like that party in Germany that just tanked, because they've got a funny voting system, proportional representation, which I agree with. But if you get under 5%, you lose all your seats. So they went from 72 seats to zero, what they called again. But they're the Liberal Party in Germany, or it's quote liberal in the European sense, to do with economics. And that's just sort of what a Reform Party I like. Plus, they say some stuff about immigration. I mean, if Reform said they've got a net zero immigration policy, but if you put that into practice last year under Boris's four waves of the greatest amount of newcomers ever, that would have been about 400,000 new people from the third world, basically, or some from the second. Apparently 90% were from the third world over the last few years. So that's what they're. So that's no use, That's net zero. They're going by net people that have left against people who have come in. But the people that are leaving are British natives, and the people coming in are third world people. There's no. It's not really the same, is it? So yeah, instead of that, we got what the terrorists give us, which was about 1.4 million gross or something like that from the third world. And we're going to be a utopia. I don't know whether we're allowed to say the native Brits are going to be a minority. Are we allowed to say that yet, or is it not allowed? But you can wonder that then if you're not. Don't think. So anyway, I'm not bothered what happens to the Reform Party as long as I've got a candidate in each election, even if it's just a paper candidate. That's what they've done in the general election, really. And personally, I don't give a hoot. They get 8% in Scotland, I think. I think they get about 14% in England, maybe a bit more than that, maybe 16%, I don't know, but they get 8% in Scotland with just paper candidates, So, and at the moment they're about 17% in Scottish polls, which I think are very important. The polls are more important than the democratic process, really, because the way the politicians have it, we get to vote once every 5 years. That's really kind of them. In Australia, at least, they get to vote every 3 years, but we're every 5 years. And you've just got to vote on a party hamper, so you can't vote on one issue, So we should be trying for the Swiss electoral system, in my opinion. That's the only one that's I would call democratic. The rest of them are just shams, really. Proportional representation is a bit better. Well, it's a lot better than first past the post, but first past the post, is sort of archaic, really. So I'm just seeing what it's up to, as well, maybe you don't know, I don't know, but Rupert Lowe, I mean, to me, I can understand them being angry at Rupert Lowe because he just seems like a one-man show, really. For me, I'm okay with that because it means he tweets a lot about immigration and multiculturalism. So on that, yeah, fine. But he's too soft on immigration as well, probably, I think. But he's on the right. He's on a better course than the Reform Party actually are. So he's speaking to the people more, or the British natives more. But it seems he is out of control as I thought, He's like that cartoon of the Tasmanian Devil, that's what he's sort of like. He's been doing lots of interviews, he's been doing lots of tweets he's been in Parliament a lot asking questions, which you're meant to do actually. So I totally agree with him. Parliament is part time, so that's totally ridiculous unless there's nothing needs changed. So I'm just looking to see what. But apparently they suspended Rupert yesterday. They said he'd been bullying 2 women in his office or something like that, and also he threatened Zia Yusuf, the chairman. So I'll see what Grok says about it. So today, the Reform Party in the UK has been making headlines due to internal conflicts and significant developments. Here's a summary of the latest updates. The Reform UK has recently been embroiled in a public dispute involving one of its MPs, Rupert Law. On March 7, 2025, the party suspended Law and reported him to the police over allegations of threats of physical violence towards party chairman Zia Yusuf, as well as complaints of serious bullying from 2 female employees in Law's offices. Well, if they've got the police involved, I can't see any way back for them then. So I would say UKIP should take him in, or the Heritage Party, or the Homeland Party, or whatever. Just anyone should just take him. Because he's going to be an MP now for 4 years anyway. Because over 4 years, because that's the way our democracy is. So, yeah, I think he'd be better on his own, actually, to be honest. But I don't see any way for him back now. The police have been called in, because it depends whether they charge him with anything, or. But if he does get charged in that and he found guilty, then I think you have to get over 6 months jail or something. I don't know, something silly like that. But I mean, when I say silly, he should probably just be removed. Maybe even if you're charged, I don't know, but definitely you're found guilty, probably. This action followed Low's public criticism of party leader Nigel Farage, where he described Reform UK as a protest party led by the Messiah. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. I mean, I see it as a single issue party, just because people are saying they're the bad people on this. So okay, right, I'll vote for them. I'm not interested in the Messiah Nigel, I'm not interested in all his policies. I'm not even interested in his policies on this subject. But the status quo is no use. It's the same as Trump over in America. To me, I would have voted Trump because of immigration. No other reason. He's mentally unstable. He's not fit. It's looking like they're moving to a dictatorship. But it was either Trump or mass migration and multiculturalism, third world multiculturalism, really. To me, there's no choice, really. Vote for Trump. So the party has appointed a senior lawyer to investigate these allegations, and Lowe has been stripped of the party whip in Parliament. Lowe has denied the accusations, calling them outrageous and entirely untrue, and suggested his suspension was retaliation from Farage. The internal rift comes at a time when Reform UK has been experiencing a surge in popularity, often polling close to or ahead of both Labour and Tories, in first place really. However, recent polls such as the Technic UK tracker from March 6 indicate that the party support may have plateaued at around 25%. Yeah, it has plateaued this week, with Labour pulling ahead slightly at 28%. Yeah, that's worrying. Or 28.6%, another one says, but I don't know why Labour are pulling it. I don't know if it's to do with doing with Ukraine, but if you're voting for Labour, you're voting for, well, I can't even say what you're voting for, but anarchy, I would say. But yeah, I don't know, I paused it there and I don't know where I was thinking. But yeah, it's just saying Farage's dismissed Law's criticism. Yeah, Ben Habib's also gets a rude tweet from Lee Anderson the other day. Lee Anderson's turning out a bit of a sort of thuggish type. Is that a surprise or whatever? A thug like, what would you call it? Presence, something like that. And then Zia Yusuf is the young quote success story, who's the chairman. He came in last July or something, and Ben Habib says he has to go. I think Rupert's not and there was Howard Cox who also get kicked out. I think they say they think he treats the people wrong or whatever. This year he's a young guy. To me, he's got the same sort of vibe as Hamza Yusuf, Anas Sarwar, Sadiq Khan. It's sort of that sort of brisk, maybe a bit harsh. Am I allowed to say that? What Hamza done to the Green Party in Scotland and how he removed them. I think he humiliated them. To me, it's just sort of, and it reinforces that Britain in the future is not going to work at all. Now we're starting to get people at the top we're able to see, rather than the likes of Keir Starmer putting through two-tier justice systems. Last year he put through a two-tier justice system which is basically emergency law, a sort of Stasi law, where people get jailed 2 or 3 years for a tweet. And then this year he's putting in a two-tier justice system where certain people have to get let off lightly or viewed in a more pre-sentence light approach, because of some sort of quango sentencing council that Tony Blair set up in 2009. It's beyond the democratic process. They just make it up themselves, really. I think it's like 15 QCs or something. So he was chairman, CEO of Velocity Black. So let's see what Velocity Black is. I'm guessing some sort of credit thing. So this is about Velocity Black, which Zia Yusuf set up. Velocity Black is a technology-driven luxury concierge service that was founded in 2014 by Zia Yusuf and Alex McDonald in London. The company combines artificial intelligence with human expertise to provide high net worth individuals with personalised recommendations, bookings and experiences in areas such as travel, dining, entertainment and shopping. So to me it looks like a lot of subjective stuff. Whether it's got any real value, I don't know, but it operates as a digital members club, offering a conversational interface through an app that allows users to access curated services and exclusive opportunities like dining in an Egyptian pyramid or microchipping blue whales in South Sri Lanka. So the company grew rapidly, becoming one of the fastest growing companies according to the Financial Times in 2021 and ranking high until its Fast 50. So he sold it already to Capital One, so possibly before he became chairman of Reform, maybe he was doing nothing, just living off his riches. He raised over 57 million funding. Blah blah. By 2022, Velocity reported 30 million in net revenue and facilitated over 100 million in purchases for its members, who had a net worth exceeding 300 billion net revenue. 300 million net revenue, but that's not profit. How much is the profit? In June 23, Velocity Black was acquired by Capital One, a US-based financial services company, for a reported 296 million. So, something like that. So he's got maybe 150 million himself. This acquisition aimed to enhance Capital One's offerings and premium consumer experiences. Services like blah 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 blah. So possibly it was a lot of subjective, nothing really, but he would argue it had real worth. 30 million net revenue is revenue profit. A gross profit of 2.7 million. That's rubbish to me. I don't know, like £7 million. But recorded a net loss of 5.3 million, according to Craftco. While it generated revenue, operational cost investments led to a negative net profit. More recently, accounts for Velocity Mobile, its holding company. So maybe he's tried to start up a affiliate thing, you know, like Smarty or GiveGive, I don't know, that are really using one of the networks. But really you get the affiliate, that's what you're really on. In 2022 it showed a pre-tax loss of 3.3 million, up from 2.6 million. Says it was still not profitable at that point. These losses align with a growth-focused tech company, reinvesting heavily in expansion. Revenue figures provide additional context. In 2021, Velocity Black reportedly achieved 30 million in net revenue. This doesn't translate directly to profit due to undisclosed operating expenses. So we don't know now because Capital One own it now. So yeah. So really, it doesn't impress me in the slightest, and it's a bit desperate. In fact, it's desperate people who have got a lot of money or a lot of backers with money. You know, they throw money and they hope for a success, 100-to-1 success. It's basically like the Dragon's Den people that are sitting there. I mean, the actual equity experts and the people that come on the show as well, really. So to me, it doesn't matter. Like I'm just voting them as a protest vote anyway until something else comes along. You know, something better. You know, because I think we need to pause immigration to see if things are going to go well. In my opinion, Labour and SNP and that don't have any issues there. I mean, I'm not sure if we're allowed to speculate that the British natives may become a minority and we may become a third world majority. I'm not sure if at the moment we're not allowed to speculate that. Farage has lots of criticism. So my message to everybody is keep voting Reform. Don't bother about whatever their candidate says. Just keep voting Reform. As a protest vote, think of it as none of the above and a message about immigration. So that's what I'm thinking it as. None of the above and a message about immigration. In fact, they should add none of the above as an option on the voting thing. Yeah, so the spat has drawn attention from commentators. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, who previously endorsed Law as a potential leader, has reportedly turned against Farage, adding another layer of complexity to the party's dynamics. So in February 25, Farage stepped back from owning the party, transferring control to a non-profit entity. This move led by Chairman Zia Yusuf, so it would be ironic if Nigel got kicked out his own, what he thinks, quote, his own party. Led by Chairman Zia Yusuf, aims to give members more control, including the ability to remove the leader via a non-confidence vote under a new constitution adopted in September 24. Despite these internal challenges, Reform UK continues blah 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 blah, such as increasing defence spending and cutting foreign aid. Apparently, Reform voters, 60% of them were in favour of Trump. Like, I don't know, or was it to do with Ukraine? I heard it in the New Culture Forum today on YouTube. But now they're down to 20%. And I think it's because of how he's acting towards Ukraine, which is quite right in my opinion. But I'm surprised at that. I thought they would just be blind Trump supporters, you know. So I don't know how true that is, I don't know. But I mean, polls are more important than opinions, basically. But we don't get enough polls. We should have polls every day about people's opinions and things. But instead we get the opinions of commentators and, politicians. And they can make it sound as if it's a big, it was like the trans thing. I was starting to wonder how many are trans. Is it 5%, 10%? Because it seems such a big issue. It turns out it's like 0.01% or something, And cutting foreign aid, recently echoed by highlight its influence on the national conversation. I mean, this is how it really works. You need parties to influence others, So just keep voting Reform. However, the current turmoil could test its momentum as it prepares for future elections. And the 2026 Welsh Senate and Scottish Parliament. Oh, did you forget about that, did you? Yeah, so to me it makes no difference, you know. I would rather there were paper candidates if they're going to get out of control. But I can understand him being angry at Rupert because he's totally a one-man show, basically. He shoots for the hip, he's doing tweets all the time. Um, so let's see what people are saying today on the Twitters, as I'm calling it. Okay, we'll first look at the official reform. I haven't looked at it yet today. So there's a statement from Lee Anderson. At Reform UK, we have a monumental task on our hands in order to save our country. There's a huge amount of pressure on Nigel and our team to deliver for the British public. I did not come into politics for personal gain. Was he going to step down or something? Doubt it. Joining Reform UK is the best thing I have ever done in politics, and this is our last chance to turn things around in the country. But politics is a team game and we must work as a team. I was the first ever Reform UK MP and first loyalty will always be to my country. I have a great deal of respect for Rupert Law and as his chief whip. I have bent over backwards to be fair with him since he entered Parliament, but his unwillingness to cooperate in an investigation into his behaviour has meant the Parliament without it cannot function effectively. There is far too much at stake by not taking decisive action. We've been trusting. Yeah, he's right. I bear no malice towards Rupert, and to remove Rupert was a deeply painful thing to do. But delivering our country must come first, and no man is bigger than the party. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I think the ideal situation would be that Rupert becomes an independent thing, so he's another protest thing. He's in Parliament, reformer in Parliament. And I think that's even better in my opinion, because he wasn't being a team player from what I've seen anyway. You know, I don't mind because I agreed with things he said about immigration. He didn't go far enough really, but I think in 5 or 10 years' time, native females that vote Greens and Labour will feel like he's far too soft on the issue, you know. But alright, I'll look and see what Nigel's saying. Let's see. Yeah, he's not done a tweet today. The Sentencing Council is a woke, unaccountable organisation. That's correct. It was created in 2009 by Tony Blair. It's a quango. I think there was a quango before it though, but maybe the Tony Blair and that gave it more powers. It's like 15 QCs or something like that. But they'll be ultra woke. If they're native, they'll be ultra woke. And if they're not native, they'll just be doing, I don't know, whatever sort of. I'm trying to think of a way to say it, you know. Maybe it looks like how things are conducted in other parts of the world or whatever, you know. At the moment, it's not enough to make us an undesirable country, but you know, because the third world countries should be the countries we all want to move to. Basically, we should all be wanting to move to beautiful, warm countries, and we should be wanting to move to flourishing Lagos, where they're well known for their libertarian views on women's rights and LGBTQ plus that, or Jeremy Corbyn's granddaughter should be going to University of Delhi, you know, and hoping to hang around 2 or 3 years to become a citizen, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, so here's what Nigel's saying. Yeah, they done well in Wales. Yeah. Oh no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with either side. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably British. Yeah. This is what we're bringing in, but I don't agree with either side, but this is what we're bringing in, basically. Or maybe that must have been what this Palestinian done before he came to Britain on the dinghy yesterday. This is the sort of thing he was doing. Or he's here. Well, he is here. He made it. For some reason, he didn't feel like moving to a Arab country or a current Muslim country, or a third world country, or a people of colour country. He didn't. For some reason, he hasn't moved to any of them. That hasn't been his final destination. This is Abu Wadi Al-Qas. How many followers he got? 172k here. Here's on the dinghy on the way to England, where his Labour will make him a citizen within a year and try and keep it out of the news, basically. Yeah. So, yeah. So Nigel's not said anything today about the spat. Now I'll check here, Yusuf, the young gun chairman who was brought in. I mean, he had no political experience. Nigel made him chairman last year. What age is he? 30 or 32 or something? I mean, I don't know why Nigel made him. Ben Habib didn't seem to go on with him. Herc Cox, who else? I mean, to me, he seems, as I said before, he's got the same sort of vibe. He's bringing a new vibe. Same as sort of Vivek over in the USA, who didn't even make it to the Trump's inauguration. It was the Elon Musk and Vivek co-Doge ticket. But Vivek didn't even make it to the inauguration. Trump's never said why he got removed. I think he's trying to be the governor of Ohio at the moment. And so he's not really said anything in the last day or two. Reform is making huge strides. Thank you to all those working so hard to move mountains. So he's not really saying anything today or yesterday. And now for the big man, the Tasmanian Devil, the one man show. I mean, I hope he does go just independent or as a UKIP or Heritage Party or whatever, if he wants to be in a party, start his own party. Personally, I mean, I don't agree with the party but I mean, we probably do need parties as some aspect of a democracy, but certainly not the main. But really, you should be voting in issues like Switzerland have quarterly referendums. I mean, imagine we had a referendum on this in 1948, or 58, 68, 78, 88, 98. Possibly now we might not win it, but because of do-gooders amongst native Brits, you know, but so let's see what has he said anything today. He might even have deleted some posts, I think. So he was writing about women's safe spaces. Oh, Zia Yusuf is a problem. He needs to go. So he has made a point here. Former deputy leader of Reform UK. So if Rupert's posting that, is it him that's posted it? Oh no, it isn't. Only. Oh, here we go. I want to say a sincere thank you to everyone who has contacted me, this is 32 minutes ago, with kind words and support. I simply cannot respond to you, but please know that it is appreciated. I am off for a walk with my wife and the sun. What a glorious day. I suggest you do the same. And it's got 463 comments, 8.2k likes. And he's reposted something that, Lee, what you have said is simply not true. I have spoken to the KC multiple times over last week. She has confirmed again and again that no credible evidence against me has been provided to her by you or the party. I must have had 10 different conversations with her. So this is 4 hours ago. To say I have not cooperated is false. That is an outright lie. Launching this vindictive assault before an investigation has even started is quite frankly pathetic. Our members, supporters and country deserve so much better than this. I thought you were a friend. Evidently I was wrong. So he's rejecting what Lee said today. 6 hours ago he said, I have been betrayed more times than I care to remember, but never by people I would have called friends. It's not a very pleasant feeling, to be entirely honest. Business, football, politics, dirty games, all of them. I have always tried to surround myself with decent, honest and fair individuals who I feel I can trust. Loyalty to those people has not always come cheap, costing me my job on more than one occasion. That is something I would not change. Of course, I'm not a politician. I'm 67 and I'm fortunate enough to be able to financially support myself and my family. My wife thinks I'm mad to trudge around my little wonderful corner of Norfolk, talking about bins and business rates. I love it. I genuinely do. Give me a heated argument with a cantankerous local councillor over mojitos on the beach any day. It's the honour of my life to be the MP for Greater Yarmouth. Yes, I've been outspoken on issues, immigration, rape gangs, deportations, the rapid way in which our country is changing, and yes, that has not been appreciated by some within Reform. Let me be clear, I do not care. I will say what I believe is right, even if that upsets certain egos. Oh, this is quite long, this, isn't it? I've run businesses all my life, some successful, some not. The one thing in common from all of the successful ones, communication, clear and honest communication. When does requesting regular meetings of MPs make me a monster? Is asking to even just see policy before it's made public unreasonable? Is it fair to be insulted because I want people to finally talk to each other? Well, these are good points. I have torn out what remaining hair I have left over the last few months trying to talk. That's it. Just talk. I have tried and tried and tried to resolve all this behind closed doors. I can only smash my head against a brick wall for so long. My one hurried and immediate summons to Reform HQ, which I could not make due to prior commitments, was the first and the last invite I would receive from the leadership. So if he's only met them once or something, I mean, that's terrible, you know. Put simply, Reform has handed a priceless gift to those individuals who have presided over our country's relentless decline. I am going to now repeat publicly an invitation that I have extended to Nigel Farage in private multiple times over many months. Every offer has been refused and ignored. Please, let's have dinner and resolve this in a manner that our members and the country would expect. Any time, any place, you've got my number. Well, that's fair enough. So maybe they will get back together, you know. But I don't think Nigel and I want them in the party, but maybe they will. But to me, I don't mind anyway, as long as he's still in Parliament, you know, whether it's independent or it's UKIP or whatever. Yeah, I mean, to me, from what I've seen, he looks pretty difficult to get on with. But then he did say the last time, like in the 2019 election, Nigel stood down all the Brexit things so that Boris would win, which in hindsight was probably a mistake. But oh well, I don't know, because Labour would have got in, so it's hard to say. You know, I agreed with it at the time, but Rupert said at the time he deferred to Nigel. You know, I think he thought they should stand, but he deferred to Nigel, so he respected Nigel. And he's been around Nigel quite a long time, you know, I think, since the Brexit party, so 8, 9, maybe even the UKIP days, I don't know, but important. So this is 15 years ago. The independent lawyer, AKC, instructed by Reform, has advised me to say the following. The party was precipitous to state that these allegations had been made without also saying that the party has commissioned an independent investigation, and the investigation has not yet got underway to look at all the evidence and evaluate its veracity. That tells you everything you need to know. And here's 17 years ago. I feel so sorry for millions of decent British men and women from all over the country who put their faith in Reform. They have been let down by their malicious circus. You all deserve so much better. I mean, personally, I prefer all this being out in the open, really, you know, so... Because I'm not voting for people, and I'm not really voting for parties. I'm voting for people more than parties, but I'm voting for issues, you know, so I totally disagree with a lot of issues, Rupert. Mainly not to do with immigration, basically, but on immigration, I would vote for them. On Reform, I'd vote for them. GB News is reporting that the police received a complaint yesterday relating to an event in December. This complaint obviously went in just after I asked reasonable questions of Reform's leadership, a malicious attempt to drag my name through the mud. I mean, to get the police involved, could you not make it, if it is, there's no merit to it, could you not get them to investigate where police time was wasted? Because that should happen if police time has been wasted, you know. I hope so. I hope that happens if that's the outcome. There is zero evidence, this is from yesterday, zero evidence of me making derogatory or discriminating remarks about women or disabled people. Anyone who repeats that will be hearing from my libel lawyer. I include Reform in that. The truth will out. I asked reasonable and constructive questions of Nigel Farage and Reform's leadership, following months of pushing for progress behind closed doors. The day after, I find a knife in my back. Over false allegations, whip suspended. Okay, let's look at Ben Habib. What's he saying? Okay, over to Ben Habib. Chairman of the Great British PAC. I think this is some sort of new, what would you call them, think tank or pressure group, which is I'm fine with. Yeah, pressure groups, yep, bring them on. I am proud of our language, history, empire, heritage, national heroes, national identity, values, etc. This is a pin tweet. He's mixed race, so he's got the right. he's been honest about Britain, what he likes about it and what's good about it, and he's grateful as well, you know. The truth about the bus stop between Reform UK, Nigel Farage and Rupert Law, so he's definitely on Rupert's side. Insightful piece from the Conservative Post. See, they keep giving these things to the Telegraph, but they're a paywall. Insightful piece from Conservative Post. I can answer the question post. Yes, Zia Yusuf is a problem. So Zia, say if you forget his ethnicity or whatever and that, a young man, he's made his money on something subjective, made a lot of money selling it. Well, I'm not sure if he's made any money actually running it. Probably made enough to live a luxury lifestyle, but whether it actually made a profit or we don't know. But he sold it for probably made 150 million for himself from selling it. Between that and being the chairman, Nigel making him the chairman of Reform, we don't know if he was basically doing nothing. But 30 something, we don't know if he's arrogant, we don't know if he's difficult, we don't know. You've just got to use your own prejudices. But Ben Reeves, no doubt, he's saying Zia Yusuf is the problem. So this is a young gun. I was willing. Is that a good idea, bringing in a young gun as a chairman of and also he might have different ways of communicating or whatever, you know. Ben Reeves tears a strip off Nigel Farage.
In the polls on the day that the general election was called, you were nowhere to be seen. It was put there by many of the people you have now set aside. It was put there by people like Rupert Lowe, Richard Price, myself, David Bull, and others. You were not there. And the five MPs we got because of the position in which the party was on the day that the general election was called. And on that day, let me just remind you, Nigel, on the day that the general election was called, you actually said two things. You said the American election was more important than the British election, so you weren't going to be standing. And that undermined our press conference. The beginning of the general election campaign was undermined by your tweet an hour beforehand saying that you weren't going to stand in the forthcoming general election. By the end of the same day, you said you would stand, but for the fact that there were only 6 weeks in which the general election campaign was to be fought, and it was incapable of being won. And now you say...
Yeah, so I may be betting him even Rupert Hall start a party, but for me, I'm not bothered about it because I don't believe in parties. I don't believe in party hampers. I think we should be voting in single issues. The Swiss electoral system is more like it. Probably that even needs a bit improved, you know, because it's not been it's also been subject to the great change, you know. Yeah, so, but, yeah, so I'm all in favour of this sort of flux. When I say I'm all in favour, as long as it doesn't mean that people fall back towards Labour and Tory and that, you know, the great disaster. They've brought us the new Britain, you know, which we're about to go in at full speed in well, we already are, but the Boris waves were the final sort of nail in the coffin, really. So here's the Great British Pack. Like many, we are saddened to see the divisions within Reform UK. The Great British Pack, yeah, this is what I agree with. Sorry, you support. It's just a pressure group. I believe in pressure groups, especially if they're one issue. Once they start mixing it, stands firmly behind all those fighting for a strong right-wing future for Britain. Rupert Law, so I don't agree with a right-wing future, but on immigration and multiculturalism, they're the place to go. Rupert Law is a man of principle, well known to many of us as kind, considerate and fiercely dedicated to the cause. We do not believe the allegations against him, and we reject the tactics of the political destruction that seek to undermine good people. However, our mission remains clear. Like the Conservatives, Reform UK is an important force in British politics, and we want to see it succeed. The left is in freefall, and the right must seize this moment, not descend into infighting. I'm not bothered. There's no time for distraction. We are not just thinking about today, we are playing for 2029, you know, that's 4 years away. A divided right will not win. A united right will sweep the socialists from power and return Britain to greatness. By then we will have the policies, the people and the legal know-how to do more than just one. The right will govern with strength, purpose and resolve. The days of weak compromise leadership must end. Thankfully the reckoning is happening now, not in 4.5 years' time. There is work to be done, but make no mistake, we will do it. The great British pack is committed to ensuring the right stands strong, focused and unbreakable. Stay the course, ignore the noise, victory is coming, Britain will be great again, the socialists will be sent packing and many of them will face their reckoning. Stay strong. I don't like when they say things like this. Yeah, that's the thing I didn't like about Zia Yusuf. He said something like some politicians might be locked up for it. I can't remember what it was, but I don't want to hear politicians saying that politicians will be locked up. I don't want to hear that, you know. That's the sort of stuff Trump says. Not unless they deserve to be locked up for non-political things. I mean, how much anti-free speech can you get by locking up your politicians? You know, it looks as if that might be the way that the USA is going to go. So I forgot that about him, about Zia Yusuf, you know. So that was sort of rang an alarm bell for me, like, Zia Yusuf is a problem, he needs to go. There's not a shred of proof, not one out of. So, no one, absolutely no one believes the utter rubbish spouted by Zia Yusuf about Rupert Law. See the thing about, I think he keeps in touch with Rupert Law, and I think he was out for a meal for him the other day. I always think it's a bit old fashioned where they say, let's go out for a meal to resolve our disputes. Is eating a meal the best way to resolve a dispute? You know, that's the kind of thing Trump does. I mean, it's a bit grotesque. Do you know what I think? So for a meal you want to be sort of relaxing. I mean, maybe a coffee. Do it over a coffee, or maybe even a pint. You know. So here's Benny Weeb saying and something else. I won once ago that Reform UK needed real democracy, not a dictatorship. Now Rupert Law 10 is being purged for speaking out. This isn't leadership, it's self-destruction. So, Rupert Law is an absolute gent. I don't believe it for a second, etc. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. Personally, I don't mind, and like I say, we've got 4.5 years to the next election anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Do I like any of these characters? Well, Rupert Law's saying sort of what I want said about. For me, it's about one issue, so I'm sort of looking at, well, who's the least worst on this, basically? Nobody's good on it. Who's the least worst? Probably Rupert Law is the least worst on it. Ben Habib's pretty good on it, more than Nigel and what Richard have said, you know, their net zero things. So, yeah, it's interesting. So let's see how this plays out, you know.